So hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be something that's completely different to what I usually do. I know that it's a rough time that we're going through and videos like this might seem kind of fucking stupid or out of place, I get that, but I just thought it would be fun to kind of recount some stories to tell you guys that might take your mind off things, even if it's for the duration of this video. Something that isn't about the you-know-what. I don't know, I just thought you guys might like something like this, something a bit different and lighthearted, and yeah. But I am well aware that there's bigger fucking things going on in the world. So look, it's no fucking secret that I go to a lot of conventions, I go to a lot of concerts, I do a lot of stuff, or at least I used to. And because I've been lucky enough to do all of that, I've met quite a few celebrities. Now before I get started on this video right off the bat, I want to say that everybody, they're just people, yeah? Celebrities, yes, they are just people. They're people who are talented and put their art, whatever it is, out into the world and became recognisable because of it. But at the same time, I don't believe anybody should feel entitled to anything when it comes to celebrities. So, like, I've heard seriously bad horror stories, and this is kind of why I decided to do this video, I suppose. Best versus worst or most memorable or whatever celebrity encounters is a topic that's quite, like, trendy at the moment. And like I said, I have met quite a lot of celebrities or famous people. But I feel like a lot of them get a bad rep sometimes. And at the end of the day, they don't owe anybody anything. If they put out their movie, their music, their show, whatever it is, they put it out into the world, they've done their bit. And then us, the consumers, can watch it or read it or listen to it or whatever. And I feel like people have like really high expectations of celebrities sometimes, and it's like they're literally just people, you know? That being said, some of them can be absolute narcissistic asshats. Because like everybody else, they're human, and some humans are just dickheads. So, this video is going to be some of my best and worst celebrity encounters, I guess. I guess we'll go back a few years. We'll go back to when I was younger. I think I was like 11 or 12, and one of the first real kind of celebrity encounters that I can remember is I got to meet Linkin Park. My mom was a massive, I mean, probably one of the biggest Linkin Park fans ever. She was a member of the LPU from its launch date, which is like their fan club website. And they used to do a thing where they would do a raffle for meet and greets. This is back in a time where people were already charging for meet and greets. Linkin Park didn't. They did raffles and the LPU got to come in and certain members were picked and then you get to meet them. It was a sit and sign, it was called, so it was like a signing, you could get something signed. She also later, I wasn't there, but she later went to the Summit in London, which was fucking insane from what I've heard and what I've seen from pictures and stuff. But yeah, I got to meet Linkin Park in Dublin. It was when they played the RDS, and on the same tour I saw them in Madison Square Garden, but I didn't meet them. But I met them in Dublin. It's one of my most cherished memories, even though it was a weird encounter, because if you've been to a sit and sign, you know how fast it moves. But at the same time, being in a room with such talented people, that I was raised on Linkin Park's music. That's why I have this, you know what I'm saying? So getting to meet them and getting to look at Chester and shake his hand, which now is something that you can never do again, it's one of my most cherished memories. And I gotta say, they were all really kind, and they all just seemed really happy and chill to be there. And the reason I think that sticks out as a really good, memorable moment for me is because they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to sit and meet fans for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many paid for events nowadays. And like, I've been to events that you pay for and the people there are kind of assholes. They don't want to be there. And it's like, well, if you don't want to be here, why are you doing it? You know what I mean? But they were just really kind, really polite, and one of my favourite memories. You weren't allowed to take any pictures, but my mother sneakily took a picture of me in front of Brad, and I will see if I can find that anywhere. Oh man, my hair is long and frizzy from what I remember. We'll jump forward in time now a little bit to 2018, I think it was. I met One Direction. That is really not right. No, it was 2014? I'll look up when the fuck it was and I'll put the right date on screen here because I can't remember. But they were doing a book signing and it was a Monday evening when they announced it. I panicked and panic bought tickets, only to realise that the actual event was on a Wednesday in London. So I had 2 fucking days to book flights, accommodation, arrange taxis and everything. I was 18 years old and had never been outside my city by myself. I just turned to my mother and was like, Mom, I gotta do it, because again, I will put a picture on screen of what my bedroom looked like at this point in my life. So this is what I was going through, and I was like, I gotta meet them. Okay, I gotta do it. So my mom was like, yeah, okay, well, you have to grow up sometime. So off I fucking went. I cried in the airport because I realised I was going alone and I had a little bit of a panic attack, but I fucking did. I'd put my big girl pants on and my I Heart Harry t-shirt, and off I fucking went. It was great. It was in a secret location in London. I think it was like a recording studio or something, but we had to meet up. We had to meet up at the Hilton Hotel right beside Wembley. And I remember that so vividly because I later went back to that hotel when I went to see Hollywood Vampires and Taylor Swift. That's another story for later. But anyway, we were taken to this hotel and we were told that we had to be there for a certain time, whatever, which was fine. And then the event management showed up, checked our tickets, made sure everyone there was like legit and the tickets were real. Then we were put on a bus and our phones were taken off of us. Now, I was 18 on a bus and it was like getting dark at this point, going to a location that I didn't know where we were going, okay? I don't, like, at that time, I didn't know London. I know it pretty well now, but I'd only been there a handful times at that point. But I got on the bus and was like, here, that's okay, take my phone, I don't need it. So we were brought to a recording studio, which was, it was actually really cool. Then we were brought into a big room, big white room. It was really fucking weird. The walls melted into the floor. Like, there was no hard corners in the room, which was super strange. That's something I remember after all these years. And then the boys walked in. Wow. If you were a One Direction fan back in the day, like I mean hardcore, you'd understand the emotions that would run through you and make your head want to blow up. My favourite was Harry, always was, always will be. And they did like a little photo shoot beforehand with the books in front of them and stuff. And then they sat down at the table and Harry was first. And I was like, good Jesus, if you can give me the leg power to get through this table without passing out, I'd really appreciate it. And I did. I met the boys, I got to chat to them, it was so fucking great. I asked Harry for a hug and he didn't understand what I said, so he gave me the weirdest look and then I panicked and I was like, oh wow, I'm a freak, okay? And he was like, no, I didn't understand you. What did you say? And he hugged me and he smelled beautiful and he's just a lovely human. Where's my book? That's the book. I got it signed at the event. Bam! And again, like, this was a really, really reasonable priced meet and greet. I think you only paid for the book and the meet and greet was free. So I think, like, the ticket for the meet and greet was like £20, which was, to meet all 5 boys, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it was great. I had a bit of a laugh with Niall because I'm Irish and he's Irish. And I was in the room for, like, mostly English people. Niall straight away caught on to the fact, he was like, where are you from? And I said Limerick, and we talked back and forth and we laughed a bit and he was asking me, was I there for a while, what was I going to do? And I was like, nah, like, I just flew in this morning and I'm flying out tomorrow, I'm going home. And he just looked at me and went, you are crazy. And I was like, I know, thank you. So that was One Direction, that was one of the absolute highlights, and they were so kind, so polite. Like, you know, at that point, everything they did was like, it was manufactured, everything was planned down to a T for them. So I highly doubt they'd much say in the matter as to whether they wanted to do the book signing or not. But all of them looked happy. All of them, they were just messing with each other and talked to each other. Zayn looked really happy. It just felt like a good event, you know? Keeping on the topics of boy bands and positive encounters, one of the absolute highlights of meeting another human being would have to be Donnie fucking Wahlberg. I think some of my viewers might be a bit too young to remember New Kids on the Block. Again, they were like my mom's favourite boy band growing up, and then she kind of introduced me to them, and I was like, hey, being honest, I prefer the Backstreet Boys, okay? Please don't come for me. But I do love New Kids, and I had and still do have a very big, slight, huge crush on Donnie. But it was my mom's birthday, and I didn't know what to get her, and she'd never seen New Kids live, ever. And I found out they were coming to Dublin, and this was actually NKOTBSB. So it was the tour they did with the Backstreet Boys. Now, at that point in time, I didn't really love the Backstreet Boys, so I was just going to go with my mother. But I saved up for months and I bought her a meet and greet. We went, we met them, it was fucking brilliant. I turned to Donnie and I kind of quickly gave him a rundown on my mother, the fact that she loved them and her kind of story with the band, I guess. And he was like, what, is she here? Can we get her over here? And if you've been to a New Kids meet and greet, you know it's the 5 boys. These are 10 fingers, I'm aware. The 5 boys with 10 fans in each photo. So my mom was down the other end of the boy band meeting Danny, I think it was. She was talking to Danny. And in the middle of the fucking meet and greet, Donnie just screams out, hey mom! Everybody turned to look at him and I was like... And my mom, like a dumbass, turned. She actually, in the middle of talking to Danny, turned and looked straight at me. And I was like... Do I look like I just yelled mom in that male Boston accent? Do you really think that was me? And she was looking at me like, what you want? Why'd you call me? Donnie, anyway, eventually got her over. They had a moment and it was just so beautiful. He's so wonderful. And we met them again in Bord Gash in Dublin, like 2 or 3 years after that. And we went in again. It was 10 people to each photo. There was a woman meeting Donnie at that point, and she was kind of talking away like a lot to him, so I really didn't get to say much. I just kind of stood beside him for the photo, and then I went to leave and he pulled me back. And then I went to try and leave again, and he pulled me back again by the back of my top, and I was like, security are gonna like yell at me. And that's one thing about me, I'm very shy and I hate being in trouble. So I was like, the security, they're gonna yell at me, dude. Stop it. And he was still talking to this woman, so I was like, what is your fucking deal here? Your one anyway eventually left, and he was like, he said something to me, and I was like, yeah, I kind of just blurted out, like, I love you, you're a big inspiration to me, I mean, you know, your acting, your music, whatever, I just really like you, and I really appreciate what you do. He pulled me back, and we took a solo photo, just me and him, and I was like, I didn't pay for that, I only paid for the group photo, and he was like, yeah, so. And I was like, okay, alright, I won't say no. So he is super, super kind, and I also reached out to him I think it was a year or two ago, because again, it was my mother's birthday. She had a big birthday approaching, and I DM'd him and I was like, hey man, is there any chance that you could like film some sort of video for her? He filmed like a 20-second clip of him saying happy birthday to her on the set of Blue Bloods, and I was like, thank you. So he's an example of somebody who knows his celebrity status. Donnie knows, and all the boys do. I mean, they've been a boy band since forever, but they know their effect on people. They know they're famous. They know that people love them, and they use it to their advantage, and they make people happy. So meeting them both times was such a positive experience. I've had not so positive experiences as well. Like, I go to a lot of conventions, and I've met some people at conventions who it's kind of clear they don't want to be there. They're kind of sticking to a script, and it's like, okay. And it's just awkward. I mean, like, everyone has good and bad days, but like sometimes I have met people who have come across as staged, I guess. That everything they say, it's like every smile, every whatever is just super put on. And it's like, it's obvious, you know, and it really puts like a dampener on the mood. Conventions can be fantastic places to meet people. I mean, I met a lot of the cast of The Walking Dead at conventions. You guys can see from the wall behind me. And some like big cast members who you would expect to be not rude but kind of full of themselves just aren't. Like, I met Melissa McBride, I met Norman Reedus, I met Denai. All really nice people that are just happy to be there. But by far, the two sweetest cast members that I've met on the cast of The Walking Dead would be Carrie and Cooper. King Ezekiel and his best buddy fucking Jerry. Oh my god. Holy Christ. The two of them just... Their queues at these conventions are always so long, and there's a reason. It's because they're kind. It's because they engage with people. They actually want to be there, and it shows. And when you meet them, it's not just like they sign your name and they go, hi, bye. They actually want to talk to you. If you have a story to tell them, they'll listen, you know? I feel a bit like someone from the 80s with this hair, because I have it, you can't see, but I have it like pinned back, because I'm growing it out, and it's fucking hideous. So I have it pinned back, but it just looks like I'm like, some kind of like bad boy from the 80s with a beehive. Oh. But the two of them are incredibly, like, if you're at a convention and you get the chance to meet them, or you want to meet somebody from the Walking Dead cast, Carrie and Cooper, hands down all the way. Just to get weird really quick, some weird kind of celebrity encounters I've had would be, I met Killian Murphy in Forbidden Planet in Dublin. Completely accidental. I was trying to look at some posters, and somebody stood on my foot, and I looked up about to like give death glares to someone, and it was Killian Murphy. And I was like, at that point, I had seen, you know, a lot of his movies, because he's an Irish actor, and if anybody makes it any bit famous over here, the whole country generally loves them. We're like, go on, son! So I'd seen a lot that he was in, but I hadn't seen Peaky Blinders at the time, thank Jesus, because if I'd seen him with his Peaky Blinder haircut, I would have melted into a puddle on the floor. I hadn't seen Peaky Blinders at the time, so I just kind of was like aware of a lot of movies and stuff he had done, but I was trying to get to the posters, and somebody stood on my foot, and I was like, the fuck? And then I looked, and the most beautiful eyes were looking back at me, and he was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, are you okay? And I was just like, I don't know what to do in this situation. So I was just like, yeah, no, it's fucked, it's grand, whatever, like, you're fine. And I turned around to walk to find my brother, because, hello, my brother was like mad into Batman and shit, and Killian was the Scarecrow. But we didn't approach him. We didn't go up to him, we didn't ask for photos, because he was shopping with his kids, and I don't I don't like it when, you know, you see celebrities, or actors or whatever the fuck you want to call them. When you see celebrities and they're clearly just trying to live their fucking life, and you have people badgering them and annoying them and being like, can I get a photo? Can I get a selfie? Whatever the fuck it is. You know, and he really was trying to keep a low profile, you could tell by him. But yeah, I just kind of watched him from afar and then left. And then later on that day, it was all over Twitter, or like the Forbidden Planet's official Twitter had posted it once he had left the store, which I thought was really nice. They waited for him to leave. But yeah, that was a really weird experience because you don't expect to be in a shop trying to muscle your way into some posters, and then one of God's finest creations steps out in front of you. Another kind of weird meet and greet that I went to would have to be 30 Seconds to Mars. If you guys have known me for a while, you know that they're probably one of my favourite bands ever. This tattoo, where is it? This one here is Jared's handwriting. It says, live your dreams. I got it tattooed like fucking a while back, but it's like a thing he always used to say, and I got it done in his handwriting because I met them. But yeah, I've met them like 4 times at this point. The first time I met them was probably one of the weirdest just because of how it was run. It was really fucking weird. It was back in 2010, so we're going back a while. It was 10 years ago this December 1st to be exact. I can't remember the name of the venue, but it was somewhere in Birmingham. It was snowing, it was like really cold, and I was wearing a short-sleeved leather jacket. Nothing really warm on me, and we had to queue outside the building in the fucking snow, which was kind of weird. And then we were brought into a corridor, and we met them in a corridor, which was also very fucking weird. I was like, really? I mean, this was like a paid for meet and greet, you know what I'm saying? Standing in a corridor, blocked full with people, and then the band just come in one by one and make their way down the line. You don't even know what's going on until Jared fucking Leto's standing in front of you. And at the time, he had his Smurfberry blue hair, his giant blue eyeballs staring at you. I was like, where the fuck did he come from? Christ, how are you doing? I met them in Germany also, I think a year after that. And I met them in Dublin then twice. 2 different years. Their meet and greets progressively got better, I feel like, as the time went on. But that first meet and greet was definitely strange. Just because of how it was run and stuff. He was really kind. Like I said, I've met them 4 times. And I've heard serious horror stories about Jared Leto. I have been a fan of his since like 2009, so I tend to be more biased because I love him. But like, I have heard horror stories and I have heard bad examples of people meeting him. But I've met him 4 different times in 4 separate years, and I've never once gotten rude, mean, or unkind vibes off of him. He's always been super polite to me, super bubbly and happy to be there. He's a weird, like, eccentric man. Like, yeah, he's a fucking weirdo, but he seemed really happy to be there, you know? Probably one of the absolute best meet and greets I've been to. Again, it's for a band. One of the best would have to be Hollywood Vampires. I met them 2 years ago in Wembley? The SSE, I think it was called. It was the smaller venue right beside the big Wembley, yeah? I got meet and greet tickets to go see them, so it was Joe Perry, Alice Cooper, and Johnny Depp. I've been a diehard fan of Johnny Depp since I could understand what movies are, I suppose. I always just kind of gravitated towards him and loved his work. So I went, and it was summer, and it was so fucking hot. It was the middle of that really bad heat wave that we got, if you guys remember. It was like the hottest summer ever. Hell itself hadn't felt heat that intense. That was one of the most wonderfully weird and wild meet and greets I'd ever been to. So first of all, I went into the meet and greet by myself. I went to London with my boyfriend, but I went into the meet and greet alone. So naturally, I was fucking nervous. Second of all, everyone else was wearing like black jeans, black vests, little band fucking t-shirts. My dumbass decided to go with my aesthetic at the time, which was a floor-length floral skirt, a baby pink vest. I looked like a little garden fairy in comparison to everyone else. And everyone else let me know. I mean, there was people giving me death glares and looking me up and down, and I was like, what the fuck are you looking at? Fuck yourself. But anyway, we went in and I met Joe Perry first, who was super polite and really kind, and he seemed kind of shy, which I liked. I was like, bitch, same. Then there was Alice Cooper, Alice Cooper is a dad. He is dad jokes, and he's just such a dorky fucker. Like I said, I had a vest on, so it was like this, and all of my tattoos were like out. And he was like, oh my goodness, look at you. And I was like, yeah, you're looking at me. And then we got talking about tattoos, and he was like, you're going to have to take out some real estate. Like, what are you going to do when you run out of room? I actually have pictures, because the photographer that was there photographed the whole thing. but I have pictures, and you can see Alice, he's holding one of my arms looking at my tattoos, and he was asking me the story behind some of them, and I was like, at that point in time, I was so scared and nervous, like my hands were sweating. I was like, my dude, my brain, I was forgetting. He was like, oh my god, what does this one mean? And my brain was like, what does that one mean, Case? Then I got on to Johnny Depp. Now, this meeting was very weird to begin with because I had been talking about Limerick, where I'm from. Alice had said to me, where are you from? Like, your accent is so unique or whatever. And I was like, oh, I'm Irish. And he just went, well, I guessed, but whereabouts in Ireland? So I was like, I'm from a place called Limerick. It's down the southwest. And Johnny Depp interrupted and went, oh, I know there. And I just looked at him and was like, you've been there. Yeah, you've been to Limerick. You're kind of a myth, because in Limerick there used to be a pub called Ted's, and it was rumoured that Johnny Depp had been in Ted's one particular night in the past, and nobody knew if it was true or not. You had some people in my city being like, yeah, I drank with him. I watched him from across the bar. And then you had other people being like, this bullshit. Johnny Depp was never in Ted's. What the fuck would Johnny Depp be doing in a pub in Limerick? Turns out he confirmed that he was like, yeah. He was like, I don't remember a whole lot about that trip, but yeah, it was a while back, but I was there. And I was like, huh? I just confirmed like an ancient urban legend about Johnny Depp in my city. Okay? He was so kind and gentle, and again, he's the type of person who he's aware that he means something to people. See, that's the thing about celebrities. Yes, they are just people. I firmly agree with that. But they're people who make a connection with hundreds and thousands of others. Like, I know for myself, there's certain celebrities that I have just like latched onto and that have become almost like friends in my head. And that sounds weird, I know, but if you get me, you get me, you know? You grow with them, you change with them. If they're an actor, it's their movies that you watch throughout the years. If they're a band, it's the fact that you listen to them. Like with 30 Seconds to Mars, I've been listening to them since I was like 12 years old. I'm now 23. That's a big chunk of my fucking life that they have been present for. And like with Johnny Depp, it was his movies, and he knew. I was very nervous trying to speak to him, and I don't really get nervous talking to celebrities. I can hold my own quite fine. But I was a bit overwhelmed I wanted to explain something to him, and I did, and he got it, and it was a moment where he cared. It was a moment where I realized, wow, this person who's been a big deal in my life for years, they're worth it. They're worth every bit of it. I have met some people over the years who, I don't want to say they've been a letdown, because at the end of the day, celebrities don't owe you anything, you know? But I have met some people who've just been rude, or they've just not been kind, or they've been full of shit. I've had interactions with some, or kind of talked to some, or been aware of some who they're just not what they seem. And I guess at the end of the day, that's the point I'm trying to get across. They're not always all they seem, you know? I've met people like that you'd laugh at, like One Direction. I know a lot of people don't like them, or a lot of people like hated them back in the day, but they were really sweet boys who made a teenage me very happy. Or Johnny Depp, or Linkin Park, or Mars, or the cast of The Walking Dead. Like, there's some people that I've met that just were incredibly kind people who are worth the energy that your body has to give to physically go and meet someone, if that makes sense. But at the end of the day, people are just people, whether they're famous or not. You never really know what someone's like. So one bad encounter, or reading one bad encounter online, doesn't mean that it's true. But yeah, that's it for this video. I guess this is really long. I wonder how I'm going to edit this bitch down. But I just thought that I'd talk a bit about some of the people that I've met outside The Walking Dead, because all I talk about on this channel is The Walking Dead, and contrary to popular belief, I do have a life outside of it. A life that I've done a lot of things with and experienced a lot with. Over the last few years, I have kind of dedicated a lot of my time to meeting cast members of The Walking Dead, and I would say 95% of that has been incredibly positive and incredibly, like, just nurturing for my soul, that it just makes me feel happy that I meet someone and they are what they seem, or they're better than what they seem. So yeah, I just thought I'd share some of my other stories, because I've done a lot of stories on conventions. All you gotta do is go back through my videos. You'll see that I've done an awful lot on conventions and meeting the cast of The Walking Dead. So if that's primarily why you're here, there's other videos for that. But I just thought I would touch on all that briefly here in the midst of all this other stuff. Yeah, you guys, if you were interested in seeing more videos, more content from me, then the link to my Patreon is down below, where I do reactions to a lot of shows, including Peaky Blinders, Lucifer, Anne with the Need, The 100, Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead. I recently started Scam in Westworld, as well as gameplay. I'm doing Telltale's The Walking Dead. and there's movie reactions, there's live streams. So if you want to check out some of the content, the link is down below. The link to my Twitter is also down below if you want to connect with me. And yeah, I think that's it for this video, I guess. Let me know in the comments if you've a good or a bad experience with a celebrity, or what your thoughts on the whole meet and greet thing is. Because I know meet and greets really divide people. There's people that hate them, and there's people that love them. Let me know what your thoughts on that is down below. Stay safe. I hope you're all doing well, and I will talk to you all soon.